السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعين به ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد, جزاكم الله خير, my dear respected brothers and sisters. Inshallah, today بإذن تعالى we're going to be talking about another common sin, and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide all of us and make sure that we address this sin in uh, the most efficient aspect. So, brothers and sisters, when it comes to this sin is very common, and that's why we address it. And we call the sin is what? Foul language, and or we call it fuhshul lisan in Arabic. And subhanallah, I say it is unfortunately very common among people and among the youth and among all levels of society. And a lot of times, subhanallah, it can be something that is common that unfortunately could harm people, and sometimes could have a dramatic effect on relationships and etc. So, where do people come up with these things? A lot of times, is people come up with these things. Either they heard someone say that same term, they heard it from someone else, or they might what we call they're just messengers, meaning that they are saying it because someone else said it, and they're just pretty much trying to quote what someone else's have said. Or sometimes, a lot of times, people learn it from watching TV, or watch or reading it from in a journal or a magazine or an article online. So a lot of times, brothers and sisters, this is what people this is how people kind of adapt these things. Or a lot of times, most likely, many people tend to adapt these terms from hearing it from a close person or a friend or etc. So there's certain things that we have to keep in perspective, brothers and sisters. One, that foul language is not allowed in Islam. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He hate when someone talk in that fashion. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, لا يحب الله الجهر بالسوء من القول إلا من ظلم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not like when someone talk, you know, or making something haram out in the open, except for somebody who is being transgressed upon. Meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not, He dislikes a foul language when it comes to these things. Why? Because, and here we're talking about what do we mean by foul language? Again, when you are naming someone else's, or you're cursing someone, or you are pinpointing at someone else's deficiency, or you're, like I said, or you're cursing them, or etc. All of this is part of a foul language. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, وَإِيَّاكُمْ وَالْفُحْشِ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ الْفَاحِشَ الْمُتَفَحِّشِ. Allah subhanahu Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, وَإِيَّاكُمْ وَالْفُحْشِ. He warned us not to be among people who use a foul language, or someone who speaks these disgusting terms out in the open. And he said, Inna Allah la yuhibbu al-fahish al-mutafahish. Allah subhanahu dislike a person who is fahish, who utilizes this term, and he is saying it out in the open. Okay? And brothers and sisters, it's important to adapt the morality of the people, our predecessors, who this was not part of their culture nor morality. Yeah, subhanallah, one time Abu Darda, he saw a woman she have a very strong tongue, and he said, لو كانت هذه خرساء كان خيرا لها. If this woman was unable to talk, it would be better for her. It would have been better for her. So number one, when it comes to foul language, knows that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hate when someone just talk in this foul language. Second thing is, can this be a reason for you to enter the hellfire? Of course. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Wal-haya min al-iman." Having modesty is part of faith. Wal-imanu min al-jannah, and having faith is from Jannah. Wal-bada'u min al-jafa. And I said, when someone being out open, using foul language, is part of what? Part of someone stepping out of their boundary, and doing so is a description of the people of the hellfire. And also another saying, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was telling this to Mu'adh radiallahu anhu. He said, وهل يكب الناس على في النار على وجوههم إلا من حصائد ألسنتهم? He said, oh Mu'adh, don't you know that people are going to be thrown into the hellfire on their faces and on their noses? Isn't it for the fact of what came out of their mouth? You know, so it's important, brothers and sisters, to keep that in perspective. That someone can be thrown into the hellfire, okay, because of the fact that if something that came out of their mouth, So it's important, brothers and sisters, for us to keep that in mind. It's important for us to keep that in mind and tell and watch the things that comes out of our mouth. So that's second, is what that it could be a reason for someone to go into the hellfire. The third, it could be a description of the people who are hypocrites. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Wal والعي شعبتان من الإيمان." He said, al-haya, having modesty, and being shy when hearing something bad. Yeah, when people, al-i is like when you are shy or you are unable to disclose something bad through your mouth. He said, having these two characteristics is part of faith. But he said, what he said, والبذاء والبيان شعبتان من النفاق. And he said, when someone talks foul, and someone is like, he does not care, he just says anything that comes out of his mouth, it's descriptions of people who are hypocrites, opposite of the people of the faith. The people of faith, he's shy and he's unable to utter these things, and he's shy and he just can't afford for this thing to come out of his mouth. But the description of the hypocrites, they always could say foul language, and not only that, they are what they are. They're like outgoing. They don't care about what's come out of their mouth. Again, that could be a description of what hypocrites. Fourth, it's part of what we call a fasiq. A fasiq is someone who does things out in the open and they don't care. You know, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Sibab al-Muslimu fusuq wa qitaluhu kufr." Cursing a Muslim is part of the description of being a fasiq, and fighting him, fighting him to kill him, is what considered to be kufr. So, brothers and sisters, understand, this is nothing light. That the fact that for someone to be labeled a fasiq, in someone who is fasiq come from taking something out of his shell, or taking someone out of its room. That's called fasiq in Arabic. So this is when someone they come out with their sins. I consider it to be when you have and all the time in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala pinpoints this characteristics of fasuq in such a negative way. If you have that characteristics, and no one want to be called a fasiq, because of something that comes out of their mouth. Fifth thing, brothers and sisters, understand that anything that comes out of your mouth gonna go back to you. So maybe if you call someone something bad, whatever come out of your mouth can go and come back to you. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "ولا يرمي الرجل رجلا بالفسوق ولا يرميه بالكفر إلا ارتدت عليه." A man should not call another one a fasiq, or a man should not call someone a kafir. He said if someone does so, إلا ارتدت عليه, it's gonna go back to him. So إن لم يكن صاحبه كذلك, if of course it's gonna come back to him if the person who's calling it he is not a kafir or a fasiq. So if someone calls someone a kafir or calls someone a fasiq, and the other person is not, that is gonna come back to him. So it's gonna come back on him, making him that kafir or making him that fasiq. So this is something dangerous, brothers and sisters. And it's important for us to watch the things that comes out of our mouth. Again, and Prophet, another hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in which he said, "إن شر الناس منزلة يوم القيامة من تركه الناس اتقاء فحشه." He said the worst of the people in the hereafter. Look at this: the worst of the people of the hereafter are whom? The one that people leave in this dunya. People leave him. They don't want to be near him. Why? Because they're fearing they might harm them with their tongue. Ya Allah, these are the worst people. When someone leave you because they're like, he might curse you, he may say something about you, he may make fun of you. These are the worst thing. يعني يعني and one time Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم said to Aisha, يا عائشة إن من شرار الناس الذين يكرمون اتقاء ألسنتهم. Like the worst of the people, Aisha, are whom? The one that people leave because they fear that they would be harmed from their tongue. So, brothers and sisters, this is something really dangerous to watch our tongue and etc. And again, understand this final aspect, brothers and sisters. Prophet Muhammad said in the hadith, ما كان الفحش في شيء إلا شانه وما كان الحياء في شيء إلا زانه. He said, if you add fahisha or foul language to anything, it makes it look more ugly. And if you add haya, modesty, to anything, it makes it more beautiful. Wallahi, a very beautiful hadith. If you add foul language to anything, wallahi, it will make it disgusting. And if you add modesty to anything, it makes it beautiful. So, subhanallah, how sometimes people or things, when you add the foul language to it, people will be disgusted to see you. But when someone is having modesty, or a woman become more modest, people would make people perceive her more beautiful. Subhanallah, and that's part of things that we have to think about. So the thing is here, brother and sister, that we need to address here is that how could we be cured from this? If someone he uses foul language, how could somebody be cured from this common sin? Number one is remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Make it a habit that if you're not doing anything, absolutely not doing anything, remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imam al-Qayyim, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala abuse him, what he said, إن سبب انشغال الناس في الغيبة والنميمة والكذب والفحش والباطل والباطل فإن العبد لابد من أن يتكلم من أن يتكلم فإن لم يتكلم بذكر الله ذكر تكلم بالمحرمات. He said, why people, for instance, sometimes they talk ghiba, backbiting, haram things, lie, cheat, and foul language, because their tongues are not busy with remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if their tongues are not busy remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the tongue have to do something else. So they're gonna, if you're not gonna use your tongue in doing good things, the tongue is gonna be used to do haram things. And that's obvious. So brothers understand this aspect that if you're not doing dhikr, or if you're not doing good things, obviously your tongue is not going to be doing, obviously your tongue is going to be doing bad things. So that's one. The second thing is get used or train yourself to be quiet. Not necessarily you have to talk, because the more you talk, obviously the more you make mistake. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "عليك بحسن الخلق وطول الصمت." Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was giving advice to someone. He said, have good morality and try to be quiet. Don't think that you every time you have to talk. So training yourself to be quiet is another good thing that something you could do. Also, train your tongue to do good things, to say good things. Because like I said, the more you say good things, the less likely you're going to be saying haram things. Like, train yourself to say astaghfirullah, alhamdulillah, oh Allah, make it easy for us, or whatever. Get used to saying good things. Fourth, if you have to describe something that is ugly or something that looks bad, use alternative terms. Like, for instance, if I want to say, instead of saying something is ugly, I could say, or something is disgusting, I would say it does not taste nice, it does not look nice. And instead of saying using ugly, disgusting, no, just say it doesn't taste good. See, it's the alternative. It's less harming. It's less. It would not have the same effect on the person who's hearing it from the other end. Again, that's a characteristic of a believer, in which that he is always using good terms. Okay, and that's what Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us, and that goes into the fifth aspect, that use the best of words. يعني Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said وَقُلْ لِعِبَادِي يَقُولُوا الَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ. Tell my servants to say what is better. And and if you have the يعني Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if he had a choice between two things, he would have chose to say a good thing. Yeah, one time Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam wanted to describe someone who was blind. He said, "Go to the person who could see." Yeah, and he referred to him as the person who could see, because he had a choice between calling someone who is blind, but he said, "Go to the person who could see," and as a way to make him feel better, to make him less harm in the way he talk. Okay, and subhanallah, there's a lot of times that we could, instead of saying thank you, you can say jazakallah khair. Instead of saying hi, you say assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Instead of saying bye, you could say fi ri'ayatillah, with the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And instead of saying ugly, you say it's not beautiful. And instead of saying يعني uh, are you stupid, you can say may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive you, why you have done this. And instead of saying يعني instead of saying, for instance, why you have done this, or you could say may Allah guide you, you know. And instead of saying wow what's beautiful, say mashallah. So a lot of things, you get used to saying these things, brothers and sisters. There is always a good way to make alternative of the things that comes out of your mouth. And the fifth point is beware of cursing or al-la'n. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, لا ينبغي للصديق لا ينبغي للصديق أن يكون لعانا. يعني if someone is truthful, he does not curse. He does not say woe to you or curse or be upon you. And that's part of the characteristics of the believers. They shouldn't be cursing, you know, and that's something that this is the characteristics of the believers. And also have a characteristics of haya, because haya, when someone have modesty, part of that modesty is what is that you shy of committing things that are haram. You watch your word. You dislike hearing haram things, or you dislike saying haram things. And as Prophet Muhammad said, ما كان الحياء في شيء إلا زانه. And when you add haya to anything, it makes it more beautiful. And what about I added part of my morality? It makes an individual more beautiful. Okay. The seventh aspect, brothers and sisters, is be around those who are good people, good friends. يعني Prophet Muhammad, we always know this hadith, المرء على دين خليله. A man is going to be in the religion of the person who he befriends. So if your friend is the person who is the drug dealer, uses foul language, of course you're going to adopt some of the language he has. You know, when someone sits with the righteous people who with the masajid, people who are righteous, of course he's going to adapt some of their languages and etc. And also the final thing, brothers and sisters, is ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help you. Say, يعني Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to make this dua, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min sharri sam'i. Oh Allah, I ask you to protect me from the evil of what I hear, and ومن شر بصري, and the evil of what I see, ومن شر لساني, and the evil of my tongue, ومن شر قلبي, and the evil of my heart, ومن شر منيتي, and the evil of my soul. So or my intention. So again, this is, you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help you, and inshallah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will help you بإذن ta'ala. And again, brother and sister, this is something يعني generally speaking, Prophet Muhammad always asks us not to curse. يعني Prophet said, many hadith, he said, ولا تسبوا الأموات, don't curse the people who are died. ولا تسبوا الدهر, don't curse the time. ولا تسبوا الديك, don't curse the rooster, you know. ولا تسبوا الريح, don't curse the wind. So Prophet has many instructions and tell us not to curse. Why? Because that's not the morality of the believer. Okay. And finally, brothers and sisters, don't return the evil with the evil. If someone cursed you, that doesn't mean I have to curse them back. Be better than them. Prophet Muhammad said, وَإِنَّ الْمَرْءَ وَإِنَّ امْرِئٌ عَيَّرَكَ بِشَيْءٍ يَعْلَمُهُ فِيكَ فَلَا تعيره بشيء تعلمه منه. يعني if someone pinpointed a negative thing that you have, don't pinpoint something that a negative thing that he has. دعه يكون وباله عليه وأجره لك. Let him be. Let him be. And you will get the reward. So if someone cursed you and told you this and this and this, you don't have to respond. He will get his sins and you will get the reward for not responding. And brothers and sisters, I think one of the most beautiful sometimes people say, oh, I have ego, I have to respond. One of the most beautiful characteristics is act as if you have not heard him. Act as if maybe he is a little kid and you don't have to respond to little kids. So subhanAllah, act and ignore him. And wallahi, sometimes ignoring people can be a blessing. So brothers and sisters, these are kind of in summary, some of the bad things that and the negative things that people could acquire from having a foul language. And we talked about, inshallah, over a few points of how can we cure ourselves from this common sense. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide all of us, and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us be better individuals. Jazakumullah khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.